will be delicious, enjoyable, and most important, easy. We make it simple for people to eat out. We use only the freshest ingredients from local organic and natural food sources to create your healthy, palate-pleasing meals. Check us out on the web at thefreshfusion.com, phone 954-533-7423 or 954-835-5189. Hours, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Are you tired of feeling tired? Confused by the conflicting health information in the media? Maybe you can't walk into a grocery store without being overwhelmed by product label claims. Living a fast-paced, overstressed life? Are you or your loved ones being diagnosed or labeled with chronic illnesses? Finding balance and health in today's culture is a challenge we all face. Welcome to Quality Living with Leslie, where we debunk the myths, bring clarity to the confusion, and help expand the gap between health and illness. To get in on the show, call 888-565-1470. Now, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Quality Living with Leslie. I'm certified functional wellness educator and diabetes paraprofessional. And what that means is I empower people to be their own advocate, know their numbers, and to take control of their health so they can prevent and reverse disease. I want to thank my sponsor tonight, Kenyette Fincher from the Fresh Fusion. And you can listen to tonight's show 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and of course here on Facebook Live for Quality Living with Leslie. And in order to join the conversation, feel free to call at 888-565-1470. Here's my famous disclaimer. I have so much fun reading this. I am not a medical doctor and do not engage directly and indirectly in diagnosing disease, dispensing medical advice, or prescribing the use of any products or services as treatments for sickness or disease. This information is solely for informational purposes, is for people of normal good health. Information is not intended to be a substitute for proper medical care provided by a physician. You should always cooperate with the health professional of your choice with the mutual goal of building personal health. Tonight's guest, so to get right to it, I'm going to introduce Casey Cochran of Fit Food Fresh. And don't forget, if you have questions, to call in at 888-565-1470, because we have Casey here and we can hammer them away. So welcome, Casey. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So Fit Food Fresh, just to give you guys a background of how this came about, most of you have probably experienced some sort of food delivery, or heard of it, or seen other people in the office or something with prepackaged type of pre-prepared food so that you have the convenience and you're able to kind of get through your week. You know, I know a lot of people, we talk a lot about health and planning and preparing food and making sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And when you're dealing with that preparation and people say, I don't have time for health, I don't have, the financial support for eating healthy. And Fit Food Fresh is basically able to encompass, really kind of take all of those worries away from you by their model. So I want to start by just having Casey tell us a little bit about Fit Food Fresh and how it came about.
Well, Fit Food Fresh, like you said, we're a delivery meal plan company. So we make and deliver meals for people throughout South Florida, from Jupiter to Miami. My partner and I got into it because we were actually clients of meal plan companies that were existing at that time. And we love the concept, the convenience, kind of outsourcing something that was really laborious, shopping and finding parking spots and cooking, cleaning, all that stuff, not to mention the fact that I really can't cook. So mine is really
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. So glad you can relate.
There you go.
But we love the concept, and we just felt like it wasn't really being executed the way we wanted. We bounced around. We just couldn't find someone who had the portions and the ingredient quality. The menus a lot of times seemed repetitive, and you couldn't pick from the different menus what you wanted. You kind of just got a blanket of whatever you're getting for paleo, and if you don't like salmon, too bad, you've got paleo salmon, and give it to somebody else or try to trade it in the lunchroom. We wanted to be able to pick our menus, just like walking into a restaurant, or pick our items from the different menus, so I could mix and match paleo and plant-based and things like that, depending on what my taste preferences were, my dietary restrictions. So we kind of just piece by piece started building that concept out. And at first it started out with the humble aspirations of just providing food for ourselves and maybe like a dozen friends, just to like cover the cost of having a caterer do that. And then it kind of grew as more people found out about it, kind of spread word of mouth. Actually, till this day, it's basically referrals and finding us on Yelp. We really don't do a lot of marketing, and it's just grown and grown. And we always take that approach of making decisions from the client's perspective. So that's kind of how it's just naturally evolved from something simple. That's a long version, at least.
No, that's perfect, because what stood out for me as a consumer, and no, I've tried them all, like, at some point, or I've declined to try some for some of the reasons you mentioned. I have very specific needs. We talk a lot about diabetes and sugar and eating really healthy and making sure you got good balance of proteins and things. And I was finding that, one, there was lack of customization, and two, there was, I think that I want to elaborate a little bit more when you say the meal categories, because what I loved about it is that you have something for someone that may not be as strict as I am, that may not have the sensitivities that I am, but they're like more of a restaurant type option. And then you have more of a paleo and some of the more popular diets and trends that are out there, the vegan and the plant-based. And then I saw the clean eating. So like I was like, whoa, that's mine, But what was cool is that all of it's real food. So I've seen other companies that hand you your breakfast as a pre-made processed scone. And these people are like, look, I brought this healthy meal in today. And I'm like, you're eating a scone?
Or it's in a box with the preservatives. We talk all the time about, well, you can't read on the label, you shouldn't be eating it.
Yes. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it.
But yet because everyone's looking for convenience.
Yes.
So today, they delivered 10 meals to my house. 3:30 in the morning, in ice packs tied together. I'm like bleary-eyed. I go out and I get the food. When I woke up, my refrigerator is full. But you said I can do the crazy clean. And my kids go, there's a lot of grilled chicken breast for me. But then they've got all of the healthy gourmet. They can have lunches, and there's everything else. So for a family, you can pick and choose. And the portions is what I loved about working with Casey, is they're big enough to feed my husband. My husband's 6'3", 200 pounds. So to find a portion, a meal that works for a man, and then I can eat half a portion, it's beautiful. So I'm not ordering 2 portions for him, which is a lot of the other
Just to
competitors.
accommodate.
So the competitive companies would be, the price point might have been the same, but I had to order 2. So then you're looking at double, which was kind of crazy.
Well, and one of my favorite things too is I would ask them, what are your macros? For me, I have an interest in how much sugar, how much carbs, ingredients. I can usually deduct a little bit from that, but you guys make it easy because it's all right there, so it's broken out in terms of if you're on a very specific, especially high fat, you see a lot of ketogenic diets. They can tweak your stuff to accommodate that type of diet because you believe in some of the healthy fats, which I see lacking in some of the other companies as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I don't want to use the term one size fits all, but it's very rare that we find someone who can't find something that they love on the menu, because like you said, it goes from something that's very similar to what you'd order in a restaurant, it just happens to be healthier because we put a spin on it, to we literally will take care of the meal prep for fitness competitors who are trying to get every single ounce of fat off their body. The Black Cillian UFC fighting team, when they're going for their weigh-in before a fight, they would switch over to the Crazy Clean, which you mentioned, which is, I always tell people it's the most boring but effective. There's no flavor. We just add heat.
I think it's delicious, though. But I think that's how I eat.
Yeah.
But I love the Crazy Clean. That's all I eat is a Crazy Clean.
I'll normally have like the Crazy Clean salmon with some sriracha or something, but we kind of leave it to people who either have that tight restriction, or they have maybe a lot of allergies and they're like, I don't want to risk any sauces, just I'll flavor it myself. So that's a good accommodation. But then again, like you said, all the way to the restaurant stuff, snacks, desserts, breakfast. So it makes it easier to find something you like, something you can stick with that variety, and the menu changes every week so you don't get sick of it, even if it's your favorite, like you're mentioning the wrap. After about 3 weeks,
the turkey wrap was
you want
delicious.
a new wrap, the SoCal turkey wrap. So we switch it out, and that way you don't get bored. It's
But last week I know I ordered chicken penne alla vodka for my kids and my husband. They devoured it. I mean, they were I really should have ordered more. They were fighting over it, but it was the healthy version of what they'd get at a restaurant.
Yep.
And the salmon. Remember, we went shopping one day and we were looking at the different kinds of salmon. Tell us about your salmon.
We get wild caught salmon. Sometimes we'll have rack of lamb on there. We'll have beef fed or grass fed bison. So we have higher quality premium items that will kind of span. I mean, we'll do barramundi, all sorts of things that I find them surprising to find in a meal plan, because that's not what you'd expect. chicken, turkey, some pork,
tilapia.
some beef, some tilapia. Tilapia has never been on our menu, will never be on our menu.
Thank you.
I always tell people we eat this stuff, so we have the luxury of deciding what goes on the menu.
Yeah.
You know, if we're eating it, it's, you know, something that we are going to want. I went out to a restaurant, I won't mention it, but I was telling my partner today, I was just like, took my parents out, and I'm looking at it, I'm just like, I recognize that, and that. I know what those are, and that is not fresh. I can't believe I'm paying this. I could just be at my kitchen eating this stuff.
Totally. Right?
But your salmon, I'm glad you brought that up, because the price point for your salmon meal, and it's, I don't know how many ounces because I haven't really
It'll
looked.
be at least 6 ounces of.
So it's a big piece of salmon, and the price point for what it is for a wild caught piece of salmon, you cannot go to Publix and buy that for that price. And it's cooked. Your house doesn't smell like it, and it comes with the vegetables, and it's all
Don't
done.
have to take the scales off or anything.
So you're cooking salmon and Brussels sprouts, and your house doesn't smell like it. You know
like,
what?
sold.
No matter
I'm
what,
done.
what it is, but the price point is far less than you could buy going to the grocery store, and the prep time, and the parking, and everything else that goes into it. So that to me is, it's always a no-brainer. But
Well,
really,
and
the quality of your food.
Yeah, I think people forget, we were talking about earlier, that like our best asset is time, and our time of what we could be doing in spite of like sitting in traffic, going to the grocery store, food prepping, you know, all the things that, and you know, some people really enjoy cooking. I really enjoy cooking, but I can also get carried away, and when I have to cook, it's a totally different experience, right? So I like having that. I used to, when I worked out of an office, I used to prep on Sundays, you know, but I would spend my entire day prepping on Sundays. And it was like a big time waster. I gave up a lot of time with my family or to do other activities to do cooking. So
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, if you were to monetize it just based on how much you make an hour, let's say it's, you know, $20 an hour, just to go to the grocery store and come back, not even counting what you're doing in the store, that's an hour right there. Then there's the cooking each time, whether it's 5 nights a week, 7 nights a week, however many nights, or all day Sunday, then the washing dishes and everything else like that. That's all time that you could be putting into something else. And we have people who love cooking, but like you said, when it's not obligatory and it's something that you can still do when you like it, then like
take your time.
it's so much better. I mean, I always tell people I love going to the gym, but there's some days I just don't want to go to the gym.
Exactly.
Now, if there's some day I just didn't feel like cooking and I didn't have anything else to eat, I'm either having to cook or I'm starving.
Yeah.
So this kind of keeps it fun still. Lets you
For
enjoy
me,
it.
I'm grabbing a piece of protein bread with almond butter. And they laugh at me in my house, either almond butter or cottage cheese on a piece of bread. They say, could you eat a real meal? But you know what? If there's food for my family, I go, you're good. I'm running that back to the studio. So now I actually have quality food.
Yeah, you
and
don't
you
have to
talk about
compromise.
sugars all the time. Exactly. The sugars, the carbs, diabetics. You live on your own. Often you go, who wants to cook when you're living on your own? But then again, who wants to cook for a family of 4 either?
Especially when you're trying to please, like you were saying,
Right.
there's different dishes.
palates.
So
You don't have to be the
you
short
can't
order
just cook salmon, a steak, and a chicken one night, and then you know your son's also on plant-based. Like that's going to be hard to pull off. This
absolutely.
kind of allows you to go to a restaurant that's everybody's favorite.
So
Heather
tell me a
says
little
hi.
bit about that. I'm sorry, the plant-based. So when we talked about the various diets, if people want to grab, like, say maybe they're not ordering for each individual in their family, but they want to do an order, can they mix and match from the different menus?
Yeah, you can mix and match and do exactly whatever you want. We have one woman who was only ordering our peanut butter chia seed balls. She'd order about 10 packs a week and just come pick up. But you can do whatever you want. So you can mix and match paleo and plant-based. You can get some quesadillas and salads, whatever
So
you
there's
you
no
wanna do.
minimum, like you have to buy this variation or this number of meals?
That's
or how
another
does
thing
that-
we did away with. When we were with other programs, they'd have a minimum of like 15 meals that you have to get a week, or you have to get a package where it's 2 meals a day and 3 snacks, whatever kind of combination. And I might not eat that, so why'd I have to buy these extra meals that now I'm feeling horrible about throwing away? And we looked at it as, if you're walking in my restaurant and wanted to buy 1 chicken or 20, I'm going to want your business either way. So we got rid of that restriction. You can literally get 1 pack of chia seed balls, 1 meal, and just come in and pick it up. So that's great for people who may cook at home with their spouse and it's something
Yeah.
they like to do, and they just need their lunches taken care of. It's good for someone who just wants something, the company takes care of it on Wednesday and they've got dinner plans Tuesday, Thursday, they go in and out of town. So we try to be as flexible as possible because, again, that's giving you another reason to stay on, stay consistent, and, keep going on that path to meet your goals,
So
regardless
the
of what
food fairy
life throws
comes.
at you.
The food fairy
Well,
literally
I
comes.
love that you say that because I used to have to time it so that I could run home from work, grab it off the put it in the fridge. Like, so they used to deliver, I think, at like noon. And I never, it was just never made sense. And I had also like a Farm Fresh that used to deliver vegetables. And I have to get home because it just wasn't cool. We live in Florida, for Pete's sake. So it was like you're cooking your food outside. So I love that you deliver before you, it's like on your step.
The food fairy, I wake up in the morning before my coffee. I need to bring it inside, and nothing comes before my coffee.
Yeah, having to rush home kind of takes away from the convenience. So this will come in the middle of the night, cooler bag. There's ice packs keeping it nice and cold. All your meals are there. They don't knock on the door. We always tell people they are delivery ninjas. You're not supposed to see them or hear them.
We did not.
So in the dark of the night, they
I always
go
think,
out.
should I leave my light on for them?
They can see in the dark. They've got skills like that.
Delivery ninjas. Can you show us
Some of
what
the
it
food?
looks like?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that truly amazes me, is it comes in these beautiful plastic containers. And it comes with these great ice packs. So everything is packed, cold, and every meal comes like this, stacked with the label on the outside.
Yes, so that's another cool aspect there because they're not on the top.
Here's an
Right.
example of the wraps. We started these actually. We had a lot of law enforcement officers, and they just said we can't get to
That looks good.
a microwave. What can we do? So
Are these samplers? I'm just kidding.
no, these are all for you.
Yes, these are for you.
Yes. So for
But
people who
look
don't
at the
wanna
portion size. If you can show,
Can you
Yes,
see
the
that?
6
That's
ounces
salmon.
of
That's
protein.
one
No,
portion.
that's a barbecued mahi actually.
Oh, that's a mahi.
But that's a
okay.
portion. That is enough. Would that feed you?
It's a real meal.
Is that
yeah,
like
and it
a
keeps you
6? Is that
satiated.
5 or 6 ounce fish?
That's
That looks
gonna be
big.
6 ounces, yeah.
Yeah.
6 ounces of salmon. Here's a breakfast item, so you get an idea. Of some
I love you had steak and eggs. They had hard boiled eggs for snacks.
yeah.
That
yeah.
like for me, that's like fantastic, especially
Don't have to peel
for
the eggs or
traveling.
boil
You
them
know.
Oh my gosh! Look at these sweet potato cinnamon pancakes. Seriously, 2 minutes in the microwave and you're done.
And the almond butter's made in house. I always tell people the ketchup. The chef.
Your
makes,
ketchup is so
chef
good.
makes the ketchup in house. That's
Is that
how
such a funny
meticulous
thing
he
to
is.
say?
Yeah, we do the butchering. You're mentioning the I think patties or something that were just kind of pressed and frozen. When it's uniform like that, you know it's not handmade. You'll notice all of our balls, all of our patties are it's ground in house. It's formed in house. We know every little bit that's going into that. The dressings, everything's made in house. Fernando is amazing at what he does. He's
See, and
very,
that,
very
that I
meticulous.
encourage, all of my clients and all the people that I work with, especially with the blood sugar, just to know what's in their food. You know, it's like, it doesn't have to, for me, it's never, oh, you can never have sugar. It's how they balance it with protein and different fats so that it's not causing, that it's keeping their blood sugar even. So for them just to be educated on what's in their food, which, you come in here right here and you're breaking out what the
Everything's here.
ingredients
This
are.
is 63 grams of carbs. So you know what? If you're watching your carbs, you wouldn't go for the sweet potato pancakes, but you could
But
certainly
you can
go
eat
with
the
this.
eggs and the bacon.
You can eat the eggs and the bacon. And
And
this
then
is
you have
coconut rice, sweet
Yeah, we've got a
plantains.
meat lover's bowl that would be a better breakfast option with some sweet potatoes and some
Look, this is
chicken
33
sausage made
grams
in-house.
of protein, 340 calories. This whole meal, that's like unheard of. You buy a box of anything that you can't pronounce.
I know.
The sodium is ridiculous. The preservatives are crazy.
We were talking about the sodium and how he said they don't any added sugars and sodium and things like that. The way that they do things is more they have time for prep and
Yeah, we take advantage of a couple of things. One of them being our ability to cook over a longer time period. So we could do a 48-hour marinade, and that allows us to skip. I always tell people you could put enough butter, sugar, and salt on a piece of bark, and I will make it taste good. Cooking without that, you kind of lose some things unless you take advantage of longer cooking methods. So that's what we implement to kind of skip that stuff. If it's ever used, it's minimally for maybe like a catalyst in a sauce or something like that. But that's also what helps make everything so much easier. When you're not putting in the sodium in your body that when you go out to a restaurant after a couple months on this food, you'll taste, your tongue will burn from the amount of sodium that right now you're probably calibrated to. Then you go back out and you're just, you taste it and everything.
everything tastes salty and
There's
sweet.
a lot of the problems right there. Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, you don't even want to go out for dinner anymore. And I know that sounds awful, but come Friday night, I'm thinking,
You said that to me
I've
last
got
week.
2 meals left in my fridge. I don't want to go out because
It's hard because I'm always comparing. I'm just like,
number one, it's
Fernando's
going to
curry's
cost us so
better.
much money. I can open a bottle of wine at home,
Yeah.
have these 2 meals, and sit down. I'm exhausted and not have the sodium and not have the preservatives and actually know I'm eating healthy. And when I'm tired, it's right there.
Yeah.
And Heather texted from Dexafit the text
Oh,
tracking.
hey, Heather.
Heather,
Heather.
so should the text tracking, tell Leslie about the text tracking.
Oh, that's also something that we implemented a little while ago. Just more transparency. It'll send you a text in when you're getting your delivery, letting you know when it got there, that it's out there waiting for you. So when you wake up, like I said, we don't knock. you wake up, you look at your phone as everyone does, and while you're checking your emails and starting the anxiety for the day, at least you'll know your food's outside waiting for you, and you got that
let me
checked.
go have my sweet
It's like
potato
you can
pancakes while
track
I'm
them and
catching
find
up.
out. But your delivery area is enormous.
Yes, we do from Jupiter to Miami, so we take care of all 3 counties.
Crazy.
And,
That's crazy. So can you tell me a little bit about like cutoff times and like, so if somebody's listening, what would they have to do in order to get set up, and how much time ahead do they need to give you?
to avoid getting too confusing, because there's so many days, the deadline for a full week of service would be Wednesday night at midnight. After that, the Monday delivery, which is the first of the 2 deliveries, that menu goes down, so you can no longer order for that, because now we're getting the numbers in, we're starting to source. We go through about a dozen different vendors just to figure out, quality products and find that stuff. So we use that time to start the purchase. And then the menu switches on Sunday. So that would be the deadline for getting on the Thursday delivery. So if you're going out of town for Monday, or I'm sorry, if you were to miss the Monday delivery, you could still get on for Thursday, and that also allows you. We also have the menu bifurcated like that, so you can also split it to accommodate going out of town. So you could get on one delivery electively if you wanted to.
Okay.
Even if the deadline hasn't closed, you're still able to do that beforehand.
But that's what is amazing, because I know people in Weston and Miami and so far north, and they say, but I need this food service. And I said, yes. They said, but the same company? And you go everywhere. My sister lives in East Fort Lauderdale. She told me after 2 weeks, she started using you on her own. And we were having dinner one night, and I said, I've started working with this great new food company. They deliver. I don't have to cook. She said, me too. And I said, who? And she tells me it's the same exact company. And she said in 2 weeks, her pants are already too big. She's not bloated, and she doesn't cook. They're both attorneys. Nobody cooks. She said she feels unbelievable. And so for their birthday, I was telling Casey that I got them a credit on their account, like a great Mother's Day present. Mm-hmm. And you said for new moms who don't have time to cook, you can just set up an account, and people can go on and order, and the money sits on their account, and it's a credit.
Yeah.
So how can they do
That's
that?
a great idea.
You can either call us, or you can go on the site. We're actually going to set up an item that's going to be a coupon that you can buy. But if you want to do it in a different amount, just give us a call, an email, and once you have our number, you can actually text us. We're working out the smoke signal thing, but so far that's enough mediums to contact
What's your
us.
website?
That's awesome.
The website is fitfoodfresh.com. There's going to be a contact form, I believe, at the top that you can use, and then our number's also right there.
And it's the food fairy. When I read that, my husband laughed. He said, you made that up. I said, no, because, everything for me is about fairies and unicorns. And I opened it up, and I have a food refrigerator fairy that actually comes to my door twice a week. If you don't read the signs on that one, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the food fairy program we actually started, basically it's if we have so many people, we realize that we're just too busy to even remember to put their order in.
Freddie.
Missing the deadline, like Freddie. The food fairy will actually pick for you.
does it?
So
Every
it's
week?
based on your
So-
dislikes, your previous orders, it can
it
pick for you.
automates.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you'll see what it's picked, so you can actually change that, but at least gets an order in. Then you can change that if you need to. Otherwise, we have a lot of people that just let it pick.
Now, do you keep a history, like a record? I saw that there's customization points, and that you have somebody call and actually go through to kind of see exactly how detailed their pickiness is.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that are gluten-free, for instance, so you'll always know gluten-free for that person, right?
Yes, and that'll not only be marked if we're picking for you, but if you're picking for yourself, you'll always see a GF in parentheses. That stands for gluten-free. P is for peppers, and then N is for it contains nuts. So if you see those in parentheses, that's what those mean.
Okay.
There's also a breakdown of that in the frequently asked questions. But but good question. If you were to put in that you're gluten intolerant, the system knows to pick
Or
against
any
that.
like specific allergies, it'll
Yes. Yeah,
automatically-
you can actually put in what items you don't want. We have the recipes in the database. It filters through them. It's a system we've been working on for, I don't want to tell you how long.
That's
but
awesome.
It used to be manual. It's just now transitioning over to software.
That's amazing, because I used to get all the time, every time, and I would probably have at least 1 to 2 meals of, the week's worth, because they did twice a week, but was wrong. And then I just had to kind of write it off, or I had to stuff the sauce or the tomatoes or corn or whatever
Yeah.
it was every single time.
If it's a dietary preference, it's one thing. If it was an allergy, that's more serious, anaphylactic shock or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's something that we're putting a lot of time and attention into, making sure that that's bulletproof, because
And you need to go by and see the facility. It is
I
immaculate.
tried to
Thank
on the
you.
way here, but I drove around and then I was like, I should have texted you.
So
earlier.
it's a little hard to find, but once you find it once, you'll find it.
We didn't
every
see the
time.
kitchen, but they have these monitors set up in their office,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a living room, which is the
Yeah.
coolest. It's like being in friends and hanging out on the couch.
That's the atmosphere we kind of want. Something fun, less formal, and just
So that's cool.
back.
So for people from the outside, you guys can actually come to the site and
we
taste
love it.
stuff. And
Oh yeah,
that
because
way
what's
you
more
kind of
convincing
know.
than that? You're able to see an immaculate kitchen. You meet the friendly
Yeah.
staff. It's only better for us.
That's
so
the other thing
come
people
on
can
by.
pick up.
Yes. Anybody that works or lives nearby, you can avoid the delivery fee if that's convenient for you. So about it's $15 a week for the delivery. Otherwise, you can pick up, and we're there 7 days a week. So Monday and Thursday are normally the pickup days with the delivery days, but we love for people to stop by.
Are your delivery times the same for each county, or do you have like drivers like?
Yes, they've got
okay.
the same targeted goal of before 6 a.m. for residents, and then between 8 a.m. and 12 and noon for offices. So
Okay.
no one's there obviously at 3 in the morning. We don't want the bags sitting out in front of your office. We have a lot of office deliveries going to law firms or whatnot. So that way we're delivering when someone's there, able to take it right into
Yeah.
the fridge.
And do you foresee at any time tweaking something more to the diabetic, or not so much more, but maybe like the clean eating geared towards the diabetic?
A lot of our, I know we were receiving some referrals from a dietitian. She was putting a lot of them on the paleo menu.
Oh,
she
okay.
said that was, she was,
Yeah, the higher
was making it
protein.
super easy for them. Yeah, and I guess lower
Fantastic.
carbs. It's more stable on the glycemic index. But we're always tweaking that. I know the keto was
So many
something
options.
else that's come
Yeah.
up. That
What's
we're-
your phone
we're trying
number?
to- 866-600-4778.
Fitfoodfresh.com.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
and
Casey.
Thank you, Casey. www.leslieharrington.net for more information and yourbloodsugarbbootcamp.com. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
We're going to go eat. Bye-bye.
No. Thank you for joining me on Quality Living with Leslie, where we help you know better so you can do better to be the best version of yourself. For more information, you can find me at leslieharrington.net. That's leslieharrington.net. Have a great week. Now, go out and share the health.
Own your health. Take control of your health and contact us at yourbloodsugarbootcamp.com. Do you know your numbers? The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, I'm Alicia Curry, and I'm here to influence, educate, inspire, and entertain you with audacious confidence. Audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so bold and so daring that you live your life without limits or restrictions. So join me on my show, Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, so we can discover the unknown you. Call in to join the conversation at 888-565-1470. Let's get started. Hey. It's Alicia here, and let's get started. I just wanted to share with you one of my favorite quotes from Napoleon Hill, and he says that somewhere in your makeup lies the seeds of achievement, which, if aroused and put into action, would carry you to heights such as you may never have hoped to attain. Just as a master musician may cause the most beautiful strings of music to pour forth from the strings of a violin, so may you arouse the genius that lay asleep in your brain and cause it to drive you upward to whatever goal you may wish to achieve. So I'm here to talk about audacious confidence. And what audacious confidence is, it's that unshakable belief in yourself that's so bold and so daring that you live your lives without limits and restrictions, that you know you're an original with a secure sense of your own worth and value. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joining me today, those of you who are on Facebook joining me, those of you who are on the live stream. Thank you so much for the support and for joining me in. And on the second half of the show, we are going to have you call in if you have any comments or questions. I'd love to hear from you. And the number to call in is 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470. As we get started, I want to ask you, if you feel those seeds of greatness stirring on the inside of you, if there's something that's buried deep inside that you know that there's more, but you're just afraid to step out and really achieve it. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I went through a journey myself over the last few years, and I had to step into my own audacious confidence to be more, do more, and have more, because I felt that stirring inside of me, and I just didn't know what to do. But I fancied myself an introvert. Yeah, I say fancy because I really wasn't, but I hid for a very long time, trying to be someone that I wasn't. I had an issue with my confidence level and my ability to be bold. And I would look at people and I would think, wow, I could do what they're doing. And in the same breath, I would say, but I couldn't possibly do that. You know, how could I possibly do that? I'm not as bold as them, or I can't take that kind of chance, or I can't take that kind of risk. And so I found within myself the ability to do it, and I stepped out, and I broke through a lot of different barriers. And over the course of this show, I want to share that with you, but I also want to hear about your experiences, and I want you to share with me some of the things that you're going through, and maybe together we can break through some barriers. So when I talk about confidence, what I want you to understand is confidence is not from the perspective of ego. You know, there's a big difference in confidence that kind of exudes from the inside of you, and someone who is very egotistical. So that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about audacious confidence. I'm not talking about pride, someone who's filled with pride or puffed up. I'm really talking about, you know, that knowing that you got this, you know, that you know that you can do something, and you are not afraid to step out and go do it. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story, because what it began for me was the question of, what do I really want? So I'm going to pose that question to you. What do you really, really want in this life? What do you want? And we're not even going to how do you get it or anything. You really need to sit down and define what it is you want, because in defining what you want, that is the first step in actually transforming where you are to getting to what you want, if that makes any sense. So where I was back in, I think, 2012, and I was sitting down and I was thinking, what do I really want for my business? So my business was called AC Beauty. It was an on-site hair and makeup service. And I always felt that I wanted my business to impact more people. And I wanted to be able to kind of bring beauty to the world. And doing makeup and hair one by one by one was not really creating the impact that I so desired. So what did I really want? I did not want necessarily a whole lot more clients. I didn't want to be running around South Florida getting more clients, but I did want to have a greater impact. And I also wanted to work with people that valued and appreciated the work that I did, because I thought that the work that I did was was really, really good, you know? So I felt like my work was worthy enough to be compensated well for what I did. But I had a value issue myself. Within myself, I had a value issue. And so some of the things that I did was I would discount my services really, really easily. And that caused me to devalue myself. So let me tell you a couple stories. And I can laugh about it now, but when I was going through it, wasn't that funny. so, so wanting to be a high-end business, and knowing that I had the skill level and I had the talent to be a high-end business, but not having the value in myself to actually charge high-end prices. So how did I go about devaluing myself? Well, I was a little stuck. And I remember the lowest point of my career in that business, in my business, was when I was hired to do hair and makeup for this client. And she needed me to do 3 different appointments. And usually what I would charge for each appointment was $200. This is, you're going to laugh at this. This is how crazy it was. Because she booked 300 and she booked 3 appointments, and she gave me this really, 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 really heartbreaking story. I gave her the biggest discount I have ever given anyone. And so I basically charged her a third of what I would normally charge. Now, she lived an hour from where I lived. So I had to drive an hour, get to her house at 5 a.m. to do hair and makeup 3 times. 3 times, 3 different days. And on the last day that I went to do it, I had to do 3 different people that last day. And I did the whole appointment. Everybody looked amazing. Everybody was happy. I left that appointment. I got an hour away. I got almost home, and I had another event to go to. And I got a phone call. And she said, "Oh, no, I need you to come back because they saw like a shadow, because I did some contouring. They saw like a shadow on the side of her face, and they took a wet cloth and wiped off the makeup. And now I airbrushed her. And if you know anything about airbrush makeup, it's like when you paint a wall and then you wipe off a spot and then you try to repaint it, and it's never smooth. It never looks good again. So she wiped off a section of her cheek, and she wanted me to drive an hour back to fix it. And that was the lowest point of my career. I am not going to drive an hour back to fix that. I mean, it's already costing me to come do hair and makeup for you, and now I have to drive back? No, I'm not driving back. And at that point, I realized that something had to change, that I have to start valuing myself and my own services and be able to stand up for myself and what I do, because I wasn't going to impact anybody. I wasn't going to create anything of value by doing that. So I went ahead and I got a business coach because I figured I needed new branding. Again, I looked at everything on the surface. I looked at everything on the outside. Well, if I got better branding, if I got a better website, if I looked, more corporate, maybe then I can charge the prices that I think I deserve to charge. But what was happening was the value was still on the inside of me. I did not change my own concept of what I was worth. So that became my process. I had to value myself, and that's a part of your confidence. You have to first understand who you are, what you have to offer, and then value that. That becomes more precious than anything else. And you have to hold that value. You have to hold the value of what you have and what you have to offer. And don't let anybody try to make little of that. When I started charging prices that I believed that I was worth, I still got people that asked for discounts, and I still got people that didn't want to pay it and thought that it was too high. And the difference then was I knew that I had the choice to say no. I didn't have to take every client that came along, and I could say no. And there are people that will respect what I do and pay for what I do, and those that don't respect what I do, I don't have to work with. And that took me some time to get there. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk about audacious confidence. And some of my journey I wrote in this book. It's called Your Signature Style, Unlocking the Confidence, Style, and Influence of the Savvy CEO. And I went back, I had to go back into my childhood to discover where those things that happened, that I started to really devalue what I did and who I was, and rebuild my own sense of value from that. So if anyone out there is listening, thank you. And if you would like to call in, again, the number is 888-565-1470. So let's talk about what you want. What do you really want? Call in and let's have a conversation. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Hi, I'm Alicia Curry, and you know me from my radio show, Unleash Your Audacious Confidence with Alicia Curry. If you lack confidence and boldness to really go out there and conquer the world, I'm here to share this valuable resource. In my book, Your Signature Style, Unlocking the Confidence, Style, and Influence of the Savvy CEO, I'll take you through a process where you can release your fears and embrace your femininity as a powerful tool to unleash your audacious confidence and win. This is where it all began for me, and I want to share it with you. Get your copy today at acradio.live. Bring out your beauty and confidence from the inside out. Buy this book today at www.acradio.live.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own online business? Start your business now. It's fast, easy, and free. Just sign up at mylife.net. You'll get a free personal business coach who will support you every step of the way. We'll help you sell products and services from our amazing product line in 4 life-based categories that can make you money. Your free business also comes with all the tools you'll need to be successful. Take control of your life with My Life. Sign up now for free at mylife.net.
You're listening to Unleash Your Audacious Confidence with Alicia Curry. Now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, we are live on the air here for Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. And I was talking about what is it you really want? So when I ask that question, what do you really want? I don't want you to think about, well, I want a bigger house, I want a car, I want, let's go a little deeper. What do you want your life to be? Are you living the life that you dreamt you'd live? So when I was growing up, everyone called me a dreamer. And they didn't mean it in a flattering way. It said, you're a dreamer. And I always felt really, really low that they were calling me a dreamer. And so now that I look back, I realize that I always was a dreamer because I always had a bigger vision for my life. I always had a bigger vision for my life, and I shrunk my vision to suit everyone around me. So I stopped doing that, by the way, now. So what do you dream about? What is holding you back from really achieving the things that you've dreamt about for your life? And really sit with yourself and figure out what it is you want out of this life. I want you to also ask yourself, what makes you feel alive? What are the things that really fuel your passion, that make you smile, that will make it worthwhile getting out of bed? Because those are the things that you really want out of life. And if you can find what that is, then we can start transforming where you are to where you want to be. The next step after you discover what you really, really want is to accept responsibility for where you are. Because not until you accept responsibility for where you are can you move beyond where you are. I remember taking a workshop, and they talked about the drama triangle. And I'd never heard of the drama triangle before, but I love the analogy because the drama triangle, so many people are stuck in this drama triangle. And what it is, you know what a triangle looks like, right? This is a triangle. And so on one side of the triangle, there's the victim. On the other side of the triangle, there's the rescuer. And on the other side of the triangle is the perpetrator. And it's a vicious cycle. In order to be a victim, there has to be a perpetrator. And in order for you to be a rescuer, there has to be a victim. And a lot of times we fall on one of those, in one of those categories, whether we are conscious of it or not, whether we do it purposely or not, because sometimes people, you might just walk past someone and not say hi, and suddenly they take offense and you've become the perpetrator and they've become the victim. So, sometimes we do things unconsciously. But when you find yourself on that drama triangle, the best way to get off of it is to take responsibility for wherever you are or whatever's going on that drama triangle, and get yourself off of it. Because once you're in that cycle, it's really hard to get off of it. I know that I was a rescuer for a long time because I found myself with people around me that were always victims, that always had something going on in their life that they needed rescuing from, and I took it upon myself to be their rescuer. And so I got off that drama triangle because I took responsibility, and I thought, you know what, why is everyone around me always needing something and always coming to me with everything? And when I made the decision and I said, you know what, that's because I set it up that way and I'm not going to do that anymore. And I changed the dynamic of a lot of my friendships, and things began to flow a lot better in my life. So one of the things that I knew I didn't want, which is the reverse of what do you want, one of the things I didn't want was to be someone's rescuer all the time because it frustrated me. And then I ended up complaining, and then I ended up being, frustrated and angry and lashing out. And so once I understood the drama triangle, and I said, you know what, I need to just keep myself off of that. So when people come to me with issues and situations, I choose not to be the rescuer. I choose to listen. I choose to support, but I'm not trying to fix anything for anyone. So when you start taking responsibility for where you are in life, because you are where you are because you put yourself there, when you start taking full responsibility for that, then you can see how you can change things for the better and actually start moving to a place of what you want. Again, the topic is audacious confidence. So everything I'm talking about here deals with your mindset, and it deals with changing or reconfiguring things in your mind so that you are not thinking the same way that you have thought, because thinking the way you've thought has gotten you to where you are. So you need a mind shift. You need to start thinking a little differently. And when it comes to confidence, a lot of times we feel that people are either born confident or they're not. And that's not true, because you can develop confidence. You can develop boldness. And I had to develop boldness. I had to develop confidence because I had convinced myself so well that I didn't have it, that I needed to find the tools to actually create it for myself. And so if you really, really want to have that those tools and be able to create that confidence for yourself, stay tuned because we're going to continue this conversation over the next few weeks. And I'm also going to have some guests that are experts in their industry that can help us to help bring some of those tools to life and help you develop the confidence that you're so desperately needing. I always wanted to do things in a big way. So when I was younger, one of my big dreams was I was actually like a closet actor. I always wanted to act. I always thought about acting, but again, I didn't think I had the necessary skill level. I didn't think I had the confidence to do it. I didn't think that I had. I didn't think that I could. And forget opportunity. There was zero opportunity for me to become an actor anywhere that I thought in my life. And once I started to actually build this confidence in myself, I didn't go out looking for anything. It actually came to me. Imagine that. You know, there are a lot of people talk about the law of attraction, but it really does, you really do create the opportunities for yourself. Because it was something that I always dreamt about, but nothing that I ever thought could ever possibly happen. And now, guess what? I am actually acting in a movie. You know, how did that happen? Again, I developed the confidence in myself. People saw something in me and asked me to do it, not knowing that I had that desire my whole entire life. So when you start building that confidence and you start stepping into it and you start really developing the skills and the gifts and the talents that you have that were placed on the inside of you to do great things. Remember I said in that in the opening with Napoleon Hill, somewhere in your makeup lies the seeds of achievement. I had those seeds buried deep inside of me. And the confidence was the water and the food that helped that seed germinate and grow and begin to blossom. And so you don't know where this confidence journey will take you. It's so remarkable and so amazing. And that's really what I want to share with people. I want to share the opportunity for you to start stepping into those amazing opportunities that you've probably dreamt your whole life, but not even known how they were going to come to you. Because once you start developing those skills, gifts, talents, those things that are resident on the inside of you, guess what? Those opportunities will start showing up for you. And you don't have to go chasing anything. It'll come to you. So, again, if you'd like to call in, the number is 888-565-1470. And I want to talk about a third point. So I talked about discovering or really finding out what it is you really, really want. That's the first key in starting to build this confidence in yourself. And then the second key is accepting responsibility. You need to accept responsibility for where you are right now and who you are and where you are. Because again, I had to accept responsibility for the fact that I was discounting myself. Yeah, people were asking me for discounts, but I was the one that was actually giving the discount. I had to accept that responsibility. I had to accept the responsibility that I basically gave away my service to someone who didn't appreciate it and devalued myself. I had to accept that responsibility. It wasn't her fault. It was mine because I did it. So that was the second point. And the third one is your attitude. What is your attitude? Sometimes we are in a place in our lives that we're not happy about, we don't like it, and we have a bad attitude about it. It might be a job, it might be somewhere that you have to, a task that you have to perform, and you have a bad attitude. Well, that bad attitude is not going to get you what you want or where you want. I have my pastor, he always used to say that your attitude determines your altitude. And it's so true, because when you have a good attitude about things, your life and your world changes. And so I just want you to remember those 3 important things, and that is discover what you really want, take responsibility, and then look at your attitude. And if it needs changing, change your attitude. That's it for me today on Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. I'm Alicia Curry, and I will see you next time, next Monday. Be sure to tune in. Love you all. Thank you for joining me. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Hi, have a great evening. A wise friend always says to me, we have a finite number of minutes to spend. And just like you can only spend $1 once, you can only spend 1 minute once. It's your choice. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to spend some of your minutes with me on my show. I wish you love, health, and happiness to live your life with audacious confidence. I love you, and we'll see you next time.
The opinions expressed on the